when you're in a human body, people are tempted to play what he calls the game of black and white. And the main rule in the game of black and white is that white must win. And white is whatever you think things ought to be. It's
right.
The positive side, and black is the negative side. And a lot of people think that the enlightened master, for instance, is someone who has figured out how to win the game of life, because they look at him and they say, wow, this guy is so peaceful and serene. He seems to have everything he needs. He's totally content. Everything seems to be just as he would want it. But the truth is that the master has not figured out how to, quote-unquote, win the game of black and white. He's figured out that the game is really bullshit. It's that it isn't getting white to win that causes you to have inner peace and all of these, characteristics that people are seeking. It's realizing that black and white, in a sense, are the same. They arise together. They go together. They can't exist except in relation to each other, and that when you let black and white be whatever they are and just relax about the whole thing and realize black and white wasn't a problem to begin with, that would be one way to describe enlightenment.
Yeah, well, I do a lot of work around what's historically been called the shadow self or unconscious, limiting beliefs, decisions, emotions, unconscious issues, what the kahuna that I studied with for 3 years called black bags. You can put whatever term you want on that. But see, here's the thing. Anything that is suppressed will be expressed in uglier ways in later days. Anything that's suppressed, whether that's in our own personality, we have to embrace those parts of ourselves, if you will, that maybe appear a little dark to us, and realize that maybe it's the dark and the black and the white that bring us to actuality, which is rising above. Hey, let me give a real simple example here. Who do you think, Bill, has more real estate problems, Donald Trump or you?
Oh, he probably does.
Probably.
He has a lot more real estate.
Yeah, who do you think has more employee issues and governmental issues, Bill Gates or you?
Oh, certainly me.
You're close.
I'm sure Bill Gates does. They're going after him all the time.
You're close to Gates, but not quite. But here's the thing. We have a lopsided perception. Going back to your illustration, we say, I was driving around New York just a few weeks ago, and about every third building has Trump's name on it. I thought, man, it's kind of cool to own a third of New York City, isn't it? Well, yeah, it's kind of cool, but it also kind of sucks, because in duality, I guarantee you he has a lot of issues he's dealing with in real estate and with employees, et cetera, that you and I aren't dealing with. And so what the enlightened individual, in pursuing your passion, let's bring it back to passion, understand, as I said earlier, the master is the individual who embraces pain and pleasure in the pursuit of their passion. Because you're going to have, in duality, as long as you're in this physical world, you're going to have the ups and the downs, and they're only ups and downs by definition. Where you truly become enlightened, if you will, is when you go to the level of actuality and say, hey, it just is.
So if you're playing this game of black and white, you can still do whatever you want, whatever you can think of to get white to win, because that's kind of the game.
That's the game.
But you also realize that that's impossible for white to always win, and when it doesn't win, you're okay with it.
Yeah.
You don't go into resistance and create suffering for yourself as a result of it.
Well, it's like, someone asked me once, and I wrote about this in my last book, Practical Spirituality. Someone asked, hey, James, if the Dalai Lama was running a race, do you think he'd race to win? I said, well, I really don't have a clue what the Dalai Lama will do, but if I'm running a race, I'm running to win.
But also, if you don't win, you're not going to break down and cry about it.
I'm not going to be bummed and depressed about it. Yeah. I'm just going to realize it's a game, and I'm going to play by the rules of the third dimension and play the game, and to the degree that I can continually transcend that and just realize it's a game, then I have true enthusiasm, inspiration, passion in my life, and I realize, God, isn't this fun? Because I'll tell you, the non-dual state is a great place to go and to experience, But after a while, I want to mix it up a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's where, you know, a lot of traditional beliefs have told us that we're going to get this, you know, and I like to push the envelope. So, you know, please bear with me. But, you know, a lot of traditions that I grew up in tell me I'm going to get a condo on a cloud someday and sit at the feet of God. But you know, I mean, that's going to get pretty boring after
Who wants
a while.
to be in church all the time?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to get pretty boring. And so here we are. What a great gift, you know, to come into this world. And, again, remember, you're having a physical experience, and to choose what you're going to create and to know that you have the ability to create it and to pursue your passion with big gusto. You know, as I said earlier, I've met a lot of enlightened people, and when you ask the question about enlightenment, I believe you have to say, compared to what? You know, enlightenment is not an end state, in my opinion. It's a gradual, ongoing evolution. I mean, every single individual is enlightened to some degree. To be light, I mean, there are things I'd ask the listener to think about, you know, reflect back upon 5 years ago about something that would have sent you over the edge, and now it happens and it's no big deal. That's enlightenment. That's evolution.
Right, and it's more, I mean, you're already the one energy of everything. It's a matter of how much you are aware of that.
Right.
To what degree you are aware of it. Well, let me ask you something else, or let me send you off on a little bit different direction here. You've done a lot of things. You've been with shamans in South America. You've traveled to Egypt. You've done all kinds of things that most people only read about, and you started in the corporate world, you know, being a keynote speaker and a trainer for companies. Tell the story a little bit of how you went from one to the other and some of the things that you